Hello there, my name is Terry Nolen and I work as the Artistic Director for the Arden Theater Company here in Philadelphia. As the Artistic Director, I'm responsible for overseeing our artistic decisions, which means I work with others to choose the productions that we do on our stages. I work with others to hire the actors, directors, and designers with whom we work. I work with others to make sure that our education programs are as strong as they can be. And I also work with others to make sure that we have the resources, the money to do all of the work that we do at the Arden. I am also a theater director, which means that I direct plays and musicals, a whole wide range of work, including children's shows, musicals, classics, new plays, and I direct those plays mostly at the Arden, but also at other theaters across the country. I grew up here in Delaware County in Drexel Hill. I went to Upper Darby High School. When I was young, about 11 years old, I became involved in Upper Darby Summer Stage, which was a hugely influential program. It had a huge impact on my life. Summer Stage, for those of you who don't know, is a summer theater program that does plays and musicals. It's a huge program that involves kids from all over and draws audiences from throughout Delaware County and throughout this region. And it's an educational program to help introduce kids to making theater, theater of all kinds. And so much of what I do now as an artistic director and a director started at Summer Stage, because it was there that I first started acting. I learned how to build sets, hang theater lights, house manage, show people where to sit. It's the first place that I directed, and it's the first place that I started producing and doing the kind of job I do as an artistic director. I went to Upper Darby High School. I was involved in the choir, all of the shows at Upper Darby. I also, after I graduated from high school, took a year off. I decided that I wanted to know more about theater and arts before I decided to choose that as a career. So I moved to LA and I spent a year in LA working in theater and getting to know the film business a little bit and sort of thinking about what steps I wanted to take next. I went to Northwestern University, which is in Chicago. When I was your age, I wanted to be an actor. When I got to high school, I started directing more, and it was then and at Northwestern that I decided that I really wanted to be a director. And I started directing a lot, and then I would direct also in the summers for places like Summer Stage. After I graduated Northwestern, I went back to LA, spent a year in LA, again doing theater, some movie stuff, and decided what I really wanted to do was to start a theater company and be an artistic director. So it was at that point that I moved back to Philadelphia and, working with lots of people, founded the Arden in 1988. The Arden is a non-profit theater, which means that we exist to serve the public good. You know, like a library or a hospital, the Arden is a nonprofit who looks to make this area a better place to live, a better place to grow up. This means that the Arden is not owned by a person, but is owned by the public. And we have a board of directors who oversee the Arden to make sure that we are serving the public good, that we are doing the kinds of things that we were established to do. So there's a board of directors, a group of volunteers who come together, and they work to help make sure that the Arden is strong. They help with things like fundraising. They help provide oversight and advice in a whole range of issues. And as artistic director, I work with the board to make sure that they have the information they need and to help guide the organization. I also work with our managing director And our managing director is in charge of overseeing all of the business and finance parts of the company. So the Arden has a budget of a little more than $6 million a year. That's what we spend to do all of the work that we do. And the managing director makes sure that our finances, our marketing, our fundraising, that all of that is strong and supports the art that we make. One of the things that's, I think it's important is if you're interested in the arts, or if you're interested in theater at this point, is to recognize that there are lots of different opportunities that exist in theater and in the arts. Besides the things that you may be aware of. You're certainly aware of acting, probably directing and designing, but the theater also has people who do marketing, people who do fundraising, people who do computer work for the theater, people who run the box office. There's a whole range of opportunities to work in theater if that's something you're passionate about. You know, when you see a play, the sets, all of the building and painting, all of the props, that the things that the actors carry, all of the furniture on the set, all of that is chosen by people who work with and for the theater. So if you're interested in theater, but you're not sure you want to be an actor, or you're not sure you want to be a director, there's lots of opportunities for you to make a living working in theater in other ways. As I said, what I thought I wanted to do when I was your age changed somewhat. I wanted to be an actor, and I certainly am not an actor now, and I'm not interested in being an actor. But if you don't know what you want to do, that's absolutely normal. That's something that's okay. You don't need to know at your age, when you're in high school, even when you're in college. You don't need to know necessarily what you want to do, as long as you stay curious and keep learning new things. A couple of questions here. One of the questions that I was asked was, what do you like the most and what do you like the least? Theater is incredibly competitive. I started the Arden in part because I wanted to be a theater director, and when I first got out of college, there weren't a lot of opportunities for me to direct. I wasn't being hired a lot to direct. And at times when I was being hired to direct, it wasn't for shows that I was really excited about. So one of the main reasons that I started the Arden was that I wanted to be doing theater, to be directing shows that I was really passionate about. But it is important to point out that theater is really competitive. It's a lot of work. There are a lot of nights and weekends that are required as part of doing theater. But the challenges are outweighed, by the great pluses of doing theater. And for me, I think my favorite part of what I like the most is the fact that I'm constantly meeting new people, constantly facing exciting challenges and opportunities. Each project involves a whole new community of people who come together to make it happen. And so there's all of these people who have this great expertise, who also have, bring their perspectives, their knowledge, and to help make the play come to life. And the opportunity to work with so many different people is absolutely my favorite part of making theater. Another question was, what do you think your career will look like in 10 years? And that's a really tricky question to answer. Obviously, right now we're in the middle of a pandemic, and so there's been a shift, and gathering in person, gathering together to see plays is just not possible. And we're not exactly sure when it will be safe to actually do that. So there has been a shift, and people are making video projects, are making audio plays and podcasts, are finding other ways to connect with audiences. And it has been a little less than a year since we had to close. Weren't able to bring audiences together, and we've had to do so many things that we've never done before. And so who we are as a theater right now is so different than what we were just 12 months ago. We will come back when this is over. Theater has been around forever. People telling stories has been around forever. And so theater telling stories will absolutely come back, but it will shift. The recent audiences spending more time looking at screens, watching television shows, streaming, will certainly have an impact on how we continue to tell stories. When I was in high school, there was a lot of my friends wanted to do theater or film, and a lot of them have done it. But when I was in high school, you had to move to either New York or Los Angeles. That was always the assumption. You couldn't make a life doing theater in Philadelphia. You had to be in New York or LA, and that's changed. And now Philadelphia is a great theater town. There are so many amazing companies doing so much work here in Philadelphia, supporting Philadelphia artists. So it is possible to make a life doing professional theater here in Philadelphia and in so many communities, throughout the country. Theater also it gives you opportunities to travel, to potentially work with international artists. So again, the ability to keep inspired by working with people is such an important part of it. And then if you're considering a career in theater or in the arts, my advice would be to stay curious. Do anything you can to keep learning. Read as much as you can. Go to art museums. Take classes in music and art and journalism and photography. Be part of choirs. Be a part in some way in the shows that are being done in your schools. See other productions at other schools. See productions professionally. Do whatever you can to keep learning and keep exposing yourself to new ways of thinking about what theater can be. It is a great career. I appreciate very much you're taking the time to watch this, and best of luck as you think about what your future will hold. Thank you.